please. You're all welcome to this very wonderful training on effective public storytelling. It promises to be very amazing and very interactive too. So I will encourage everyone, please, let's talk. The training is not going to be one-sided at all. Since it's a storytelling training, we are going to be telling the stories as we go ahead. There will be several opportunities for you to practice storytelling based on the discussion that we have during the training. Please, when that time comes, ensure that you participate. It's not going to be for long, just going to be a 1 to 2 minutes practice. So whatever comes to your mind at that time, please say it. It's going to be more of a table topics. You're welcome again, and we'll just go straight to introduction. Please, let's meet you. You introduce yourself, give us your name, your organization, and your expectations from the training. Let's meet you one by one. Please, your name, your organization, and your expectations from the training. Who is starting first?
Hello.
Hi, Henry.
Yeah, good morning. Once more, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Yes, I'm taking the first shot.
Please go ahead.
Okay, I'm Henry Noshiri, and I work with the Ministry of Budgets and National Planning. My expectation out of this meeting or this seminar is to be a much and a better improved storyteller. By the end of this meeting, I should have improved my storytelling skills at least a notch higher compared to what it is now. That's my expectation. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much.
Shots.
Welcome, Sadiq.
Okay, thank you for having me, sir. My name is Sadiq Monsuru. I work with ECOWAS Commission, and my expectation is to improve my storytelling ability and to also use it to the fullest in my postmaster journey. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, all right. Okay, who is next?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, my Oga at the top.
Bye, Metro. Good to see you.
Me too, me too.
Yes, good to see everyone.
You're powerfully welcome.
Thank you very much. My name is Alhassan Mohammed, and I'm a public speaking enthusiast, and I work with Central Bank. And my aim of joining this team, there are two aims I have. One, because I trust so much on the facilitator, Toastmaster Ethiopia, who has been a mentor and outstanding personality. I know his mastery in coaching and patience in teaching people. So I follow him to learn whatever he is going to share with us. And secondly, because I have been a public speaking enthusiast, I have listened to hundreds of speeches. And what they all have in common is the mastery in storytelling. There's no single popular and unique speech ever delivered without story. So I'm looking forward to sharpening my storytelling skills and be a better person, a better version of myself. Very glad to be here.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I can see Zainab. Hello, Zainab. Hello, Ekaite, are you ready? Can we meet you?
Oh, yes. My name is Ekaite Basi, and I work with the Nigerian Nuclear Regulatory Authority. And I'm so excited to be part of this training session today because I know the impact of storytelling in communicating. You know, when creating your content, you must make do of storytelling. So I'm here today to learn more and rub minds with people that are in the same field with me. Thank you.
You're powerfully welcome, man. Glad to have you join us.
Thank you.
Zainab, can we meet you?
Maybe she's not online. We can have someone.
Yeah, she's saying that she's finding it difficult. I'm telling her she's already in the room. She needs to unmute her mic. All right, glad to have all of you and then all your expectations. Of course, the training is packaged to meet all these expectations and surpass it. Like I said, before some people join us, this seminar is going to be very interactive. It's a storytelling seminar, and I will really encourage you to participate, please, as much as you can. Make sure you participate. There are a few ground rules. Please make sure your phone is on silent. You are free to go and pick your call at any time. But please let it be on silent so that it doesn't disturb the class. And let's begin each class on time. It's very important because one thing we do in CCLD is we respect people's time so much. And that's the character quality of punctuality. So we try to start on time, and we also try to end on time so that everyone can benefit immensely from it. Now, your participation will be highly appreciated. So please and please, whenever the opportunity comes, just volunteer. Even if we ask you to volunteer 20 times, I'm sure by the 20th time, you would have really, really improved your public speaking. And the reason why it will be interactive is you learn by doing. So I'm going to open up the floor so many times during this training for everyone. Thank God we are not so many. So everybody will speak for 1 to 2 minutes and tell us what you feel about that particular segment of the training. In a nutshell, this is what we are going to cover in the whole training. We're going to look at what exactly is storytelling. When you say you are telling a story, what are you telling? What does it mean? We're going to look at certain characteristics that makes up a story, the skills that you need to present a fantastic story, how to structure your story. So even if you are giving a story in a speech, the story itself should have its own structure that could be different from the structure of the main speech. If you are starting your speech with a story, there's a structure in which you have to fit your story into to make your story very effective. And then there are other skills that we'll talk about hopefully tomorrow, and then will give us opportunity to actually compose a story and tell us that story before the end of the program. So let me announce ahead of time that every participant is required to construct a 2 to 3 minute story and then deliver the story tomorrow during the program. In a nutshell, that's what we are going to be looking at in the training. In 1994, after my secondary school education, I didn't make my papers, which came as a result of the fact that my results were withheld, and at the time it was released, English language and physics were not too good. So I decided to rewrite WAEC, external WAEC that time. And at the same time, I also applied and wrote JAMB for Polytechnic, JAMB for university. Luckily for me, all the results came out almost at the same time. And I was given an admission into the University of the Polytechnic Calabar to study mechanical engineering, which was something I was so delighted with. So as I arrived the campus, I started my registration, and I felt so excited being in a higher institution. 3 weeks after I have started lectures and I've continued doing my registration, I got another admission from the University of Ibadan to study mechanical engineering. I didn't want to accept the admission immediately. So I went to my friends, my newfound friends in the Polytechnic Calabar, and I sought their advice. All of them, as if to rehearse a single chorus, told me that university was preferable to the Polytechnic. After all, it's the same course, and in the university I'm going to do 5 years, as opposed 7 years if I want to still do BSc from Polytechnic. So I took their advice, left my Polytechnic education and pursuit, and I went to the University of Ibadan full of excitement and joy. As I arrived the campus, in the University of Ibadan, they have the main registration office for which every student that is given admission must come to first before he is cleared and sent to a respective department. So as I went to the central admission office, I started my registration. It took me about 7 weeks of going and coming, one stage of registration, one stage of clearance to another. Then after 7 weeks of rigorous clearance and confirmation of result, confirmation of age, and so many things, I was finally cleared. And I was given a clearance letter to take to my department so I could continue my registration. As I got there with all enthusiasm and joy, and I met the admission officer in my department, I gave him the clearance letter from the central admission office. So he took the letter, went through the list that he had in my department, and my name was not on the list. He lifted up his eyes as if with a surprise and shock. How did you pass through the central admission office without being detected that you are not even a student? You are not supposed to be here. They told me that my name is not on the list, and so I'm not a student of that department. I was shocked. I was perplexed. And I felt, how could it be? I have my JAMB admission letter. I have been doing my registration in the central office, and my department doesn't have my name. So with that shock and perplexity, and my whole emotion shattered and the whole enthusiasm gone, I went back to the admission office. I met the man in charge and I related the story to him. I told him, my name is not in my department. He looked at me, and the next question he asked me made me further confused. He said, young man, how did you pass through this place without being detected? I said, I don't understand. He said, UI does not know you. I said, but sir, this is my admission letter. He said, who gave you the admission letter? I said, JAMB. He said, well, go back to JAMB and tell them UI doesn't know you. At that point, my whole dream of becoming a graduate from University of Ibadan crashed. I felt I have missed 2 opportunities of getting into a higher institution. I wished I had ignored the advice of my friends and just continue my education at the Polytechnic Calabar. And here am I in University of Ibadan, miles apart from Cross River State. And I'm told that I wasn't even a student. I went home with all hope dashed. And I felt 1 year of my life had been lost again. But somehow I met some friends, I related the story to them, and they said, why don't you go back to JAMB and tell JAMB that University of Ibadan cannot find your name on their register. So I went back, went to JAMB in Lagos, and met them. As I was standing in front of the office, completely oblivious of where I was, a young man walked up to me as if he was an angel of God. He asked me, young man, what is the matter? I told him everything. He collected the paper from me. He said, I'm coming. And he disappeared into the darkness. Few hours later, he emerged as if from the cloud and said, young man, this is the list UI sent to us, and it is based on this list that we gave you at admission. And he told me I shouldn't have printed this thing to you for you, but I am pushed to the wall because of the way I saw you to help you go through this. I was so excited. My joy knew no bounds. All my excitement returned. I felt alive again. I said, wow, so it is true that I'm actually a student. And with that confidence, I went back to the university. I went to the central admission office. I met the man again. I said, sir, this is the list UI gave to JAMB. And it is based on this list that JAMB gave me my admission letter. The man looked at it, looked at me again. He said, wow, this is how to defend your case in this university. And he turned to every other parent and student that were there. He said, this is how to bring evidence why UI should admit you. And then he wrote a cover letter on that list that I brought from JAMB and sent me back to my department, requesting the department to replace the list they have with the one that I brought. It was then I knew that persistence, confidence, and determination will always break through every trouble. So never give up, no matter how dark the situation might be. That's my little story about my whole admission into the University of Ibadan went. I hope by this story I've been able to share something useful with you. I decided to share this because this is a storytelling class, and we're going to be doing a lot of storytelling. Now, I hope you've been able to learn one or two things from that my story. So let me ask, within the next 1 to 2 minutes, what did you learn? Hello? Is anybody sharing with
Hello,
me?
sir.
Yes.
Hello, sir. Good
Everyone, you
afternoon,
are
everyone.
welcome.
Thank you, sir. Well, from the story, I learned that persistence always pays, and it will sure make a way for you if you don't give up.
Okay. Ashia, thank you. You say you learned not to give up despite all odds. Fantastic. Thank you. So we'll go ahead. I have told my story deliberately to show you how stories are told and a certain aspect of that story that I will bring out later on the training. Now, story could take any form, any form, any form at all. It could be in form of a poetry, it could be a prose, it could be a biography, it could be an autobiography, it could be a fiction, it could be a non-fiction, it could be a history, it could be adventure, it could be crime, it could be comedy, it could be personal experience, it could be anything about life, anything that could show experience about life. So storytelling could be in any of this genre, could be under any of this class, could be romance, could be humorous, and it could be about a love story, which is the most effective way of storytelling. It could be emotional, I agree. It could be emotional, it could be logical, it could be mysterious, it could be horrorful, it could be anything. So story spans through everything concerning life, everything, whatever it is. So, but the question is, this is where we really want to start the discussion. What exactly is a story? What is a story? We've heard stories upon stories. We go to movies. We pay money to watch movies on theaters, and cinemas. But what is a story? What is a story? Who will help us? Hello?
Okay, can I just give a shot?
Please go ahead. No
Okay,
answer is
for
wrong,
me,
please. Okay?
okay, yeah. For me, story is like to share a kind of an event that
Okay.
either happened to you or to someone else. It's
Okay.
a kind of an event, just to show up an event, just to talk about an event as it happened. Might happen to you or to a third party.
Like a narrative series of events.
Okay. Narrative story of event. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Any other response?
Narrative series.
Sorry?
I
Hello?
said it's a narrative series of events.
Narrative series of events. Thank you. So a story.
So I have to say, from narrative events, past events. Most
Past,
times, past events.
okay, past events. Good. So a story is essentially a way of telling people what happened. It's an event. It's just describing an event that happened. You are telling people how that event is, where it came from, how it happened, how it impacted you. And story is actually a way of telling people this is how life is. So sometimes the story is like a metaphor. You are trying to let people know, for instance, from the story I just portrayed, what I'm trying to say is life is determination. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say from that story, life is perseverance. Life is holding on. Life is going through. Life is persisting. So a story is actually telling people what you perceive life to be. It's just telling people this is life. From your story, you are telling your audience what your own perspective of life is from an event. From an event. And so the whole concept of storytelling is how to narrate and describe an event. It's nothing more, nothing less. And it could be a series of events. It could be only one event. So whenever you are telling people about an event, you are telling people a story. And event is simply a change in somebody's life, something that happened, a remarkable change that happens in your life, a turning point, a milestone that is very vivid in your memory, that you remember something very unique that happened is an event. Something you would love people to hear, something, for instance, how you graduated is an event, is a turning point. And this event must attach itself with an emotion, either emotion of pleasure or an emotion of pain. If that event did not provoke any emotion at all, it is not going to be a very effective story. The story must show how happy or how sad you had been. Because in life, there are only two opposite emotions. It's either it tends to pleasure. Pleasure means you are happy. It was a story related to love. It brings you so much happiness, brings you so much joy, so much peace. It brings you something every other person is looking for. Or the event was a pain, something people try to run away from. Maybe it was the death of a loved one, maybe you failed, maybe it was a sickness, a disease, or something that caused you so much pain. So that is what a story is. It concerns emotion, it concerns a change in your life, it concerns something that was memorable, and you would want to narrate it to people. And so from here, it simply shows that a story must have a particular character, must have a particular location, must have a particular time. Okay? So time, location, and a character. What I mean by character, it could be a thing, it could be a person, it could be a symbol, it could be anything that will form the whole body of that particular event. Okay? So a story is narration or description of an event, whatever that event is. It may be an event in your life, it may be an event in somebody else's life. But storytelling is primarily about telling somebody else about what happened, how it happened, when it happened, where it happened, who it happened to, and how the person was able to react to it, how the person was able to handle it, and so on. So it is just your ability to go around an event in a very detailed manner. That is what a story is. And so it requires you, any speaker who have developed competence in storytelling will be a competent communicator anywhere, anytime. because storytelling is one of the most technical skills you can develop in public speaking. Once you can tell a story that will hook your audience from start to finish, there is no other kind of speech you will not be able to give, because it's an embodiment of communication and public speaking. Okay. Now,
sorry, can I take you back, sir?
okay.
Yeah, there is something you said. You said story must have three items. That is character, time, and the last one is what?
Place. No, we'll see.
You said story must have a
on that.
particular character.
Location.
Okay.
It has to be a
Location.
place.
Okay.
There must be a place, a location.
Okay.
There must be a time, and then there are so many other ingredients of a story. We'll still come to that.
Okay.
But just know that story for now is about an event, and an event means something unique that happens in your life that either brings you pleasure or pain, depending on what happened. Okay. Now, when you are telling a story, there are certain characteristics that must follow your story. One is you must understand the principles or structure of a story. A story is not just to tell people what happened. You must be able to put it in a particular structure, in a particular frame. But it's not about rules or formula. It's not going to be T1, T2. Just like we discussed, for those who were in the last training, we talked about the 3x3 matrix. The same thing with the story. You need to put it in a framework that will help you have it in mind where to start and where to end, and how the middle will look like. So a story is about understanding the principles, the guidelines, the structure that governs the story. Another characteristic is that there must be an order. There must be a progressive order. And that progressive order means you start with the less emotional scene and then progressively move to a more deeper emotional scene. And then you must get to a climax in the story, and then you must start coming down gradually until you land with your audience and tell them the morals behind the story you just told them. Please, every story must share the morals, otherwise you were just talking. As a good storyteller, you must always share the morals of your story. And the moral of the story are usually values, belief system, how the audience should deal with that particular moral or belief from the story. So when you finish your story, make sure you share the morals. The morals could be a character, maybe punctuality, maybe friendship, love, kindness, and so on. But by all means, share the morals of your story. So the story should be thorough, it should be orderly, it should not be haphazard. Don't go forward and backward whenever you are telling your story. Now the story should be about reality. The story should be about reality. It should not be something that people cannot connect with. If you are discussing with your friend and you are telling your friend a story that he cannot relate with, your friend will lose contact, will lose interest in whatever you are saying. Please and please make sure that your story is about real life experiences. It's about something people could connect with. It's not an abstract. It's not something they cannot hold, they cannot handle, they cannot touch, they cannot feel. Please don't let your story be about abstracts. You can give an abstract illustration, but let the characters in that your abstract illustration be something people can handle. Now, a story should also be about something that touches the head and the heart. What I mean by touching the head and the heart means people must hear you, they must be able to see it, you must paint the imagination for them to see, and then they must feel the emotions. You must convey the emotions. They must feel it. They must, you know, in Toastmasters, we say, the way you were saying, I am happy, you didn't say with so much excitement. Maybe I also lost that in my own story. But people, your story must touch the heart and the head. Don't fill your stories with emotions and don't fill your stories with logic only. It's very important. The two of them must go hand in hand. You must tell your story for the head and you must tell your story for the heart. That means that your story must be logical, must be sensible, and must be emotional. If you don't touch people's emotion with your story, you will lose them. And then finally, your story must be original. Please don't try to cram your story. It's about an event. Tell people how the thing happened. Don't try to bring somebody else's story or cram somebody else's story because you loved it and you will now want to duplicate it in your own story. So please, one, the story must have structure. The story must be real. Story must be emotional and logical. The story must be original. It must be original. It's very important. Your story must be as original as you can be. Now, very quickly, this is where we will have our first assignment. These characteristics are important, 5 of them. Principles must have a structure. That means it must have a beginning, must have a middle, must have an end, must have an order. Which are you starting with? Which are you ending with? The event must be real, must touch the head and the heart, and it must be original. So in 1 to 2 minutes, I would like any of us, in fact, if all of us could participate, that would be fine. So please pick any of these 5 things, anyone at all, any of these 5 pictures, whether the words or the pictures, and try to tell a story from it. It could be about anything, but just in 1 to 2 minutes, 1, just be original. 2, touch the heart and the heart, the head and the heart. That means give us the logic and then give us the emotions. And then number 3, let it be real. Let it be something. It could be an event that happened in your life, could be something that you read in a novel, it could be something that happened to a friend that you know. But whatever it is, let's pick any one of these 5 outline and then tell a story out of them. Did we get it? Hello? Hello?
Yes, I would say, sir.
Okay, so is anyone going first? Anyone can, within 1 to 2 minutes, look at any of these 5 pictures and just tell a story from it. Anything. Who is going first? Or you can pick a story outside these 5 and just tell us. If you can't structure any story from these 5, please pick any story from anywhere and just tell us in 1 to 2 minutes.
Can I try one?
Okay, please go ahead.
Okay, I'll try the one with the couple. Just
okay.
Okay. There they were, eyeball to eyeball. They gazed at each other's eyes, hands held with tops of the same color, with their bicycle all ready for the journey to the island so far away. Love is a trial and a triumph. There are oceans that you need to cross. But then, if you're persistent, like this couple is, you'll get there. Yeah.
Wow, 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 wow. Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Jumobi, for that wonderful poetic construction. Thank you. Who else is going? I love the way you started and I love the way you ended. And it shows an adventure. You're looking forward to having a very wonderful adventure. Who else is saying something?
Hello.
Hi.
I want to go for tell us about yourself.
Okay.
In the early 80s, a girl was born as the first child of her parents in the center of commerce, though her father hails from the center of excellence. Few years later, she had 3 younger ones, 2 sisters and a brother. She has always wished for a brother, and luckily he came when she was 8. Coincidentally, they were born the same month, and her love knew no bounds. To her, it was like heaven on earth. Having a brother was all she wanted, and now she got it. Today, she's proud of the man he has become, a successful civil engineer, a promising man, having attained a lot in life, and she's proud of him. That is me.
Wow,
Thank you.
wow, wow. Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much. Well, we could see the order from when you were born, and then we could see the desire of your heart and how it was met and what joy it brought to your life. That's amazing. It shows a complete order. Thank you so much for that. Who else is going? Who else is going? So, Dick, do you have anything to say?
Let me give a try on how successful people think.
Okay.
I have come to realize that most successful people have the same pattern of thinking. From Dangote to Otedola and several other billionaires. If you look at their life, you will notice that they have some common characteristics. One of such is they are very organized. They ensure that they follow patterns that focus more on productivity. They engage and network with people that will add value to their life. They ensure that they impact the community and affect a lot of people's life. Those are some of the ways that successful people think.
Okay,
So if you
thank
want
you.
to be successful, you can follow. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know you were continuing. I thought you had ended. So sorry.
Okay.
Well, that's amazing. Thank you so much. I can really agree with you. This is an impromptu speech, but we are going somewhere. I would really advise everyone to try, because after this try, we are going to tell you what a story should contain, and then we are going to try this again. And if you don't do this, you may not know how to improve after this particular exercise. So I will encourage everyone to participate. This training is about building.
Can I try?
All right, sir, go ahead.
Thank you very much. About 6 years ago, I want to talk about love, peace, and joy.
Okay, fantastic.
I may not touch all the words, but I will try. About 6 years ago, I was in Virginia, United States of America, and I received a call that I was transferred to Lafayette branch outside Abuja. I was devastated and disoriented. And when I came back to Nigeria, I approached my boss and I asked him. I met him in his office and he stood off, looked me in the eyes and said, Alassane, did you request for this transfer? I said, no, I didn't. He said, what happened? I said, I didn't know. He there and then assured me that he was going to do something about it. I left his office hopeful and re-energized. I thought he was going to do something about it. 1 week passed, there was no cancellation. And another week passed, there was no cancellation. It was obvious I had to leave my young family, my children. Then I had a beautiful daughter to move to Lafayette, 3 hours away from Abuja. I was there for 5 years. Initially, I was sad and angry. I drank from the cup of bitterness and angry. I was so mad about my boss, especially when I realized he was the one that specially requested for that transfer. Eventually, my boss retired. And on the day of his retirement, there was a party at Sheraton Hotel, a send-off party for him. And I showed up unannounced. On sighting me, my boss stood up, rushed me, and hugged me. I was glad I did that because initially I was full of bitterness and anger. But because I realized that in life, when you are angry about something, you will lose your that life is not always a straight path. You may meet a lot of potholes and disappointment and bitterness, and people are different. And what I did at that time was to show my boss that I was not angry, and I wish him all the best in his retirement. That is the end of my story. I know it's not good, but
wow. Are you sure that was not a speech on its own? Well done. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Alhassan, because we could see the beginning and then the flow throughout the speech and the lessons behind the story, which was forgiveness and love. Thank you very much. That was amazing.
Thank you, sir.
We might take one more before we proceed.
Can I try?
Please go ahead.
Okay, I want to go with the the third picture where you have the beach and the couple.
Okay.
Thank you. And you know, there's some pictures that you see, or as young people, you watch movies and you dream of certain things, and then eventually you are in it, and all the things that have to make you very busy in life will deprive you of that opportunity of spending quality time with your spouse. So even when you get to travel together, the children are there to distract you. And for women, we get to be distracted too by shopping. By the time we come back, the holiday wasn't actually what we are seeing in this picture. But I want to thank God for lockdown. Lockdown did magic for me. One of the greatest advantages or things that I would say, oh, this is what happened. This is my memorable moments. You know, in life, you choose to look at either the sad part or the happy part. It depends on what you want to see. But I know that after the first 1-2 weeks that we had to stay at home, eat, have fun, lockdown, don't have to go out and all that, we had to develop how to make ourselves happy. And then we started the exercising every morning. So we had to be going for exercise. Why I'm so intrigued by this picture is that the exercising, the work we used to do it, but not in the magnitude we did this lockdown period. But the greatest of it is that even when I was single and when he was single, none of us had gone for mountain hiking. But the lockdown, for me, it wasn't the bicycle ride here. It was climbing, the experience of climbing mountains. I absolutely loved it. And that I wasn't doing it alone, I was doing it with a loved one, something that normally would have thought it wouldn't be possible, but the lockdown made us to discover ourselves more and the things that we liked. And obviously the things that we thought, oh, we couldn't do again, you know, now it's for, maybe the children could go for hiking, but we did that. And I found real satisfaction with the fact that you could spend quality time with your loved ones and also enjoy what you are doing while together. Thank you very much.
Wow, wow, wow. Amazing, amazing. The story is so instructive, and I love the way you constructed a wonderful personal story from it. Honestly, you can see the laughter. I mean, it's so healing. So grandpa is talking, everybody is laughing. So many families, there's so much tension. Honestly, it's a beautiful thing. And the lockdown, thank you, because there was a flow. It took us through before lockdown, and then what happened lockdown, and then the experience of happiness that you got because of the interaction in the family. Everyone have done marvelously well. This was just an impromptu speaking. So we're going to look at those ingredients.
Can I still going to take another one?
Okay, please go ahead.
Okay, let me try. I'll be talking about how successful people think.
Okay, okay.
I have a senior uncle who has been running his private business for over 20 years now. He's very time cautious. He wakes up very early in the morning, prepares and leaves for his office. And he works late into the night. Sometimes he works even on Saturdays, except he's out of town. Looking at him then, I used to think, what is this man after? After all, he has money. But he never seemed to be contented. He was always looking for opportunities, looking for new areas to invest. business opportunities to make even more money. Even though he had money, but he was still looking for opportunities, areas he could invest so that he could even make more money. So all over the years that have grown, I've come to think that I've come to see and know that this is how successful people think, because they never seem to be satisfied. They never seem to be contented with what they have, in the good sense anyway. They are always looking for opportunities, looking for ways of making more money, looking for areas to invest and to make more money. For example, we look at Adenuga, look at Bill Gates, we look at Dangote. They never seem to be contented. They are always looking for ways, areas they could invest. What is lacking? What can I do? What new thing can I do to make money? So that is a conclusion, my own conclusion, that this is how successful people think, because they seem not to be contented. They're always looking for opportunity.
Wow, amazing. Thank you so much.
Areas of investing money and making more money.
Okay, fantastic. Sorry for cutting you. I thought you had also ended. Maybe I should be giving you 5 seconds. Okay, everyone has spoken fantabulously well. And what I really love about all your speeches is you try to bring in a personal experience to your stories. That's actually very amazing. Thank you for the structure and the composure of each of those stories. So we're still going to tell these stories, but we're now going to tell them by adding something extra to our story. So let's keep this picture in mind. We're going to bring it up later on. And we're going to tell the same story by adding other ingredients to make the story more impactful to your listeners. And we're going to tell the story by trying to invoke certain emotions. There are about 5 or 6 emotions that, as a good storyteller, you have to look forward to inducing it in your audience, depending on your ultimate lessons or value or conclusion that you are looking forward to. If you want to invoke love, peace, and so on. So we're going to now look at those ingredients, those emotions that you need to induce in your audience, because storytelling is actually more of connecting emotionally with your audience than of connecting intellectually with your audience. You must look forward to inducing certain kinds of emotions in your audience every time you tell a story. So let's look at certain emotions that are induced from every good or great storyteller. Anyone who is good in storytelling will induce what they call dopamine hormone. And this hormone is an hormone that is activated when you tell a story that creates suspense. You know, when Toastmaster Mohammed was telling his stories about his boss, how the boss dealt with him badly, there was a suspense. You know, we're now trying to, what happened? How did he handle it? How did it end? So every time you create suspense with your story, this hormone will be released. And the hormone is responsible for making your audience to be hooked to you. All the attention will be on you because they want to know what happened. And the same thing when you are watching a very interesting movie and there's a suspense, especially soap. Everybody wants to see the end. Everybody wants to see the next act. Oh, what happened next? Oh, what? So nobody wants to miss it. Everybody are, oh, and I must be at home and watch the next episode, then the next episode, then the next episode. So the first emotion that you need to create is suspense. As a good storyteller, every event must end with a suspense. You must be able to suspend your audience, always trying to think what happened next. And once you're able to do that, they focus on you, they get motivated, and their memory is activated their memory becomes sharp. They want to know, okay, that's what happened. Okay, the boss initiated this. Toastmaster Mohammed met him. So what happened next? So what happened next? Then what happened next? So the first thing as a good public speaker that you want to create with your event is suspense. You must not end the story immediately. Look for things to elongate every event to make sure that it ends with the audience always trying to ask the question, so what next? And once you do that, you induce this emotion, this hormone that makes the audience alive, makes them awake, make them focus on you, make them interested in what you are saying, and makes them to become alert. Their memory becomes very alert to grab the next thing and to store it. They become like a foam waiting for water to come in. So the first skill that you must learn, that you must develop as a good storyteller is how to create suspense. Create enough suspense. Keep them there. And the way you create suspense is, for example, you say, as my boss was writing the letter, I was wondering what was the content because of the expressions on his face. And as he raised his eyes to look at me, I saw the intensity of anger and I became frozen because I didn't know if what was coming out from the letter. And then as he handed the letter to me, I glanced at his countenance and it was still stern as when he was writing it. So as I opened the letter to read, my eye went straight to the caption. Once you go keep your audience like that, once you mention the word, my eye glanced at the caption, every member of the audience will want to know, so what did you see? What was the caption? What was this caption? What did the caption say? And you can drag the caption. You can use figurative languages. You can use any kind of description to try to keep them waiting to hear what the caption was because they want to know. So don't land at the caption immediately. Suspend it and let their attention. You can leave the caption for a while and go back a little bit to talk about your relationship with your boss and what happened, and then bring them back to where the caption was. So as a good storyteller, you must learn to create suspense. And once you achieve that, you get the focus, the motivation, the interest, and the memory, and the concentration of your audience on you. Nobody wants to miss the choice parts of that event. So create suspense while telling your story. At this juncture, I think we have done 1 hour. We should take a break now. When we come back, we will continue with the next kind of hormone. I'm also trying to create suspense here so that all of you will be wondering, so what do we have as other hormones? So we'll come back let me ask first if there are questions. Is there any question, any clarification required based on what we have discussed so far before we take the first break? Any question, please? Any question? Okay, so we'll take 5 minutes break. We'll come back by 10 minutes past 1 for the concluding part of today's training. So see you by 10 minutes past 5.